September wasn't the best. This is my September reading wrap-up. September was the ILYA Reading Challenge. This is the challenge put on by G. I will link it below, where you are a character and you are studying to become some sort of occupation. I have picked the Mathematician, and the books that I read for it were a bit of a womp womp. And I'm questioning my choices. Let's look at the books that I picked for the ILYA Challenge and then the other ones that I read on the side. So one of the challenges I needed to do was read a book with a blue title. That one I really struggled with, but I finally found The Wedding Dress Circle by Jennifer Ryan. This is a historical novel set World War II, and the focus is mainly the garment rations and how it influenced the fashion of the people still living in Britain, mainly. That's the focus. There is a lot of conversation about wedding dresses, and most women were told to just wear their army uniform or wear their best clothing. There was no extra fabric, there was no silk for the white wedding dresses that everybody wanted. So this group of women put together a sort of rental service where you can donate your wedding dress and allow other women to rent it for the day so they could get married and look their best and feel the most confident. This is kind of exactly what you would expect it to be. This is a sunny read, and I wanted it to be very moving and inspirational, and I just it felt trite, and I couldn't get past the plaintiveness of the message, and the constant talk about appearance and fashion really did get to me. The author tried her hardest to make this more than just appearance, but this is one of those books where you read the first 3 chapters, you get the first 3 characters, and you know their entire arc. It was just for me. I would recommend it if you are looking for a lighthearted, sunny read. This one I gave 3 stars. This next one I read because I needed to read a favorite author's debut book, and I chose Last Night in Montreal by Emily St. John Mandel, and it was okay. I wasn't floored by it. I could spot the beginnings of the Emily that I love, but the Emily that I love is a bit more refined, I think. This was also more of a literary story for me. I am not into literary stories because they're always so sad. They're real people and it's sad. I didn't need that. So this is following a girl who travels a lot with her dad. She basically goes missing, and her father and her are on the run for her whole childhood, and they stop at towns all across the United States. And then it's her as an adult and the people she encounters as an adult and them trying to figure out who she is. And there's a lot of things to be looked at in this one. It just didn't sing for me. It's a 3-star. It's okay. I still love her writing, and I still like how by the end of the book everybody just kind of goes whoosh, it all comes together. This one was fun. Okay, this is called Lost Ark Dreaming. I needed to find a book with the letters of my first name, Karen, and they were in this one. This is fun. This is a blend of Rivers Solomon, The Sea in Summer, and Wool. And I know those are 3 kind of odd ones to put, but hear me out. These are about towers where people live, and the higher you go up, the more influential those people are, the more money they have. The further you go down, the poorer the people. So that's the kind of the Wool and The Sea in Summer. And then Rivers Solomon, because there is an element of, well, it's set in Africa. I think it's off the coast of Nigeria. I might be wrong. And then there are these sea creatures. And I'm not going to go too far into it because this is a very short book. This reads like a thriller. It is so gripping. And the author does some really cool experimental stuff with some poetic interludes. And I would highly recommend this one. If you are into Afrofuturism, this one is a must read. I gave this one 4 stars. Now, for my book that I needed to read that was supposed to be emotional, I wanted to read The Wolf and the Watchman. And I started this and I did not like it. I was wanting some Nordic noir, I wanted some darkness. This felt dark, but it felt clinical. And it immediately reminded me of the book The Alienist, which I also kind of like. It was okay. It was one of those okay books that I read because I owned it, but I probably should have DNF'd it. This one I DNF'd, unfortunately, so then I had to come up with another one, and I decided this was the perfect thing to include, Vita Nostra. Vita Nostra I read 2 years ago and adored it. I was crying by the end of this book. So I thought this one will make me emotional. And it did, but emotional in the sense of lots and lots of reflection. Totally interpreted this book completely differently the first time that I read it, which is why sometimes rereading books is so good, because the first time I read it, I thought something completely different than this time that I read it. This is following Sasha, who's been recruited by this kind of creepy guy to perform a bunch of tasks. And every time she performs a task, she gets coins. And then eventually these coins pay for her tuition to this Institute of Technologies. Oh, sorry, Special Technologies, where she basically learns about metaphysics and thinking and philosophy. And it's very thinky. It's very academic. If you enjoy philosophical musings, if you enjoy metaphysics, which is like exploring what intangible abstract things are, this would be a great one for you. This reads, it is so compelling to read. It reads like a thriller. There's this underlying creep factor to the whole thing. Like, you know, something's not quite right at this school. And the thing that I really enjoyed this second time was the relationship that she had with her mother. And it starts with her and her mother, and it ends with her and her mother. And it was so beautiful. I cannot recommend this one enough. This is another 5 stars for me. And the other 2 that I read, I'm going to start with the one that I didn't like the most, and that was When We Lost Our Heads by Heather O'Neill. I wanted to read this one after watching Books with Brie do a review on it, and now she loved it, like adored this. For me, I just don't think it's my type of book. This is following 2 girls, and they're sort of dark, deep, sensual, disgusting, kind of childlike approach to the world. They are like your Wednesday Addams, if I might. This is a book about exploring femininity and the less demure side of it, the gregarious side of it. I didn't particularly like the characters. Now, I don't always have to like a character to like a book, but these 2 didn't really have any growth. There was a side character that I liked, but the 2 main characters did not like. This is set in Montreal, and I want to say like late 1800s. One girl is the daughter of a sugar factory owner, so she lives in opulence and grandeur. Her name is Marie Antoine. And the friend Her name is, oh, I don't remember her name, doesn't matter. So there were a lot of allusions to the French Revolution that at first were cute, but then became kind of obnoxious and too on the nose. And I couldn't appreciate it for what it was, because it was like, okay, yeah, well, I see what you did there. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, I got it. This was far too long, and the style of writing was very telling. I never felt like I was in the character. I felt like I was being told what the character was doing. And there's a very fine difference between that, and it just didn't really work for me. So unfortunately, I had to give this one 2 stars. Okay, so the last one was fun. I saw Ashley talk about this one. I'll put her up here. She did it in her stories. She just talked about something and she like screenshot this book. And so I thought, oh, that one looks really interesting. I'll try it out. This is called The Creepening of Dogwood House. This is a middle grade, which I can handle horror if it's middle grade. So this was my attempt at reading some horror. This is kind of scary. So this follows a boy who it's always been him and his mom, and unfortunately one day his mom dies, I think, in a car accident. And so then he's sent to live with his aunt and uncle, and they have recently decided to renovate the family house, Dogwood, and it starts kind of being creepy. There are rooms that appear that weren't there the other day. There is an element of horror with hair. And I would not have expected a horror story with the element of hair to be so unnerving, and it was. And I really enjoyed this one. This was a lot of fun. If you're looking for something with a little bit of creepy, but you're not a scary girl, would recommend this one. Ah! This was good. This was 4 stars from me. So this was my disappointingly uninspired month, and I'm hoping that October will greatly improve. My name is Karen. I'm the book Librenaut. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon. I explore all different types of books. These are all different. I think I've got a philosophical thriller, a middle grade horror, a historical feminist book, 2 historical feminist books, a literary book, some science fiction. I read it all.